Hi everybody and welcome to the Wednesday night live. Tonight we're going to talk about Truthful Tina. So Truthful Tina is all about expressing your truth with others but also with yourself. And the grevillea is her flower, and that also means acceptance of you, accepting the true you. So I love the grevillea. It grows prolifically around where I live, and I love watching them, and I'm actually amazed at how much they flower over and over again. It's a beautiful bush. So if you're jumping on live, please say hi. Just jump in the chat and say hi and let me know who you are, because now that I'm on this new system, I can't actually see who's on live. So I need you to jump on and comment hi and let me know who you are. But hopefully my lighting is better today too. I bought a new light, so I'm just getting a little bit fancier with my setup as I move forward through my Wednesday night lives, which is good. Good for you guys. So let's just talk about Truthful Tina and speaking the truth. But first up, I want to just talk about what Truthful Tina isn't. So Truthful Tina isn't around speaking your truth in an arrogant, self-righteous way where you're walking around saying to people, you look terrible, I think this, my opinion's right, all those kinds of things. That is not what Truthful Tina is about. Truthful Tina is about being true to who you are and you understanding your own truth. Sarah's live. Oh, I can see your name. So that's good. When I was testing it myself, I couldn't see the names, clearly because it was me. But anyway, hi, nice to see you live. So Truthful Tina is about being true to you, but also speaking your truth through your change journey, not about it's a fine line, but what I want to just really emphasize is it's not about you throwing your truth down everybody's throat and acting like you are right, because that's not what it is about. And I'm all up for a good lie, and I think that sometimes lying is really important. So my kids often say to me, when we were little, you used to lie to us, and there's one example that they bring up all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but I lied to you because you were 8 and you didn't understand the concepts of the adult world. And for me to tell you all those things back then, I had to lie to you. So we lie in life because we are being nice to somebody or we're saving them from something. You know, how many times has some drama happened and then somebody says, well, what went on there? And you go, oh, don't worry about it, nothing. Like, in essence, that's a lie. We've lied that nothing's happened, but you're protecting that person. You know, that classic, does my butt look big in this? And we all go, no, your butt doesn't look big in that, even if it looks huge, because that's not what the person wants to hear. So Truthful Tina is so not about going through your life just sprouting your truth off to anybody and everybody. What she is about being really truthful to yourself and to others if you need to be through your change journey to voice up what it is that you want to change. So when we are truthful for ourselves, it's about really looking into what's working, what's not working, what's serving me, what's not serving me, because when you can be clearer on that, that's when you can start your change journey and you can put in all the other characters and start to do all the actions and things that we've talked about. When you're not truthful with yourself and when you're lying to yourself or kidding yourself, that's when you can really trip up, because there's no point to it. I mean, if you can't even be truthful with yourself, then you know, how can you move forward with your change journey? And that's why Truthful Tina is so important. But we've been so conditioned not to be truthful with ourselves because we want to protect ourselves and we want to stop ourselves from hurting. So we tell ourselves little lies, and we keep ourselves safe. So I'm actually doing a coaching course this week, and to be honest with you and bringing my Truthful Tina out, I've had 3 massive long days, and I literally only just finished at 6:30 and did a here's my notes for Truthful Tina. So this is probably the most unprepared I've been to do a Wednesday Night Live, just being truthful. But what I'm learning is how much people do lie to themselves. We did an exercise today about self-sabotage and the stories that we're telling ourselves so that we can sabotage, so that our subconscious is sabotaging ourselves when we want to make the changes. And we're going to go into a lot of that when we go through the further characters of the change journey. But even just doing the one-on-one exchanges that I'm doing, it's really interesting to see when people are not telling themselves the truth, how much it's hindering them moving forward in their life. So when you're doing your change journey and you really do want to move forward, being truthful with yourself is the most important thing that you can do. The best way that you can do that is start doing the journaling exercises. So really start to do some free journaling if you want to, like put a situation up the top and then ask yourself, how do I truly feel about this? And then just start to write what flows for you so that you can really understand what it is that you feel about that and being really honest with yourself. And the best thing about being honest with yourself is you don't have to share that with anybody. So half the time, the hard thing about being honest is that people are going to judge you, or you're worried about what they will think, or all those kinds of things, or their reactions and stuff. So when it's you, when you're not honest with you and it's just you, you're not going to judge yourself because you are you. And it's so beautiful when you can be really truly honest with yourself, because then you know what you can work on and what you can work towards and what are the things that you want to change. So that's why Truthful Tina is so important in your change journey, and also why she's part of the self-confidence group, because without being truthful to yourself, you can't have that confidence. You can't have that confidence to step out of your comfort zone if you're telling yourself little white lies inside your mind. So essentially that's what she's about. But what I also want to say is, when you're going through your change journey, and if some of your changes involve other people, that's when you need to speak your truth to them. So for instance, I use in the book the example of me leaving my marriage, which was my biggest change journey kicking off point. Obviously it involved my husband. So I couldn't just go and leave a marriage without telling him how I truly felt. One of the hardest things I've ever done is have to speak my truth at that time, because it was much easier for me, and it was much easier for me to stay in my comfort zone, that every time he said, I loved you, I just said, I loved you too. Didn't even question whether I felt it or not. It was just the answer that came out of my mouth. It's the answer that wives are meant to give. So when I became really truthful with myself and went, actually, I don't love him, to speak that out loud to him was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. So what I'm just trying to say is, when you're having a change journey that affects somebody else, or you're going to do something that affects somebody within your change journey, and you have to speak your truth, it's really the time to bring in the power of Truthful Tina and help you with that exercise, and maybe even get some professional help about how you can have that conversation, because that conversation is not something that you're going to have willy-nilly. It's something that you have to plan for and be ready for, and have so much confidence and truth in yourself that that is the right thing that you're going to say for you to say it. Now, it doesn't have to be something massive like that. Your truth might just mean that I'm going to exercise more, so that affects your husband because you're going to get up at 5:30 every morning, so the alarm's going to go off. So it might just be, well, actually, hubby, I have to have an honest conversation with you. One of the things that I want to change is my fitness, and to do that, I have to set the alarm at 5:30, and I'm really sorry, but my alarm's going to wake you up at 5:30 every morning. It could just be that conversation. But having those truthful conversations with the people who your change journey is going to affect is really important. And that's a real part of the self-confidence and standing up, and a bit of accountability for you as well for your change journey. If you are really hard if you're really hard, if you find it really hard to speak your truth, practice in little situations where it doesn't really matter, because that will get your subconscious used to speaking your truth. So, for instance, because I never used to speak my truth, when people would ask me things like, what do you want to do? Or what do you want to watch on TV? I just go, it doesn't matter, you choose. Especially if I was in a big group and people would be like, well, we're going to do this. I go, okay, I'm happy to do that. So I wouldn't speak my truth. So even if I was like, I actually don't want to do that, I would just go along with it. Also, saying no to people now is, I actually really find that if I get invited somewhere and I don't want to go, in the past I would have just gone, and I would have been like, I don't want to go to this thing. I don't like these people. I don't want to waste the night doing this, but I feel like I have to because they asked me, so I'm going to go. And I ended up having a terrible time, and I didn't enjoy myself, and I'm sure I wasn't any benefit of the people having me there, because I was not enjoying myself because they didn't want to go. So now I just have this real truthfulness to myself where I go, actually, I don't want to go. So then I speak the truth and say, I don't want to go. So it's a nice, real, I'm not going to go. Or, if you can't say I don't want to go, say I can't go or whatever. And start to just speak your truth a little bit more in those situations where it doesn't matter so much. And then the last part of Truthful Tina is understanding what your values are. And I'm realizing even more this week, like, I knew my values were important. And when I discovered my values, it opened up this whole new awareness for me around what made me tick. And I suddenly realized that the people that I resonate with, that I get on with, that I'm friends with, they all have similar values to what I do. And then the people that I meet that maybe we don't get on so well, maybe we have a coffee and it's okay, but we move on, they have different values to me. So when I started working with my values and really discovering my values, it really opened up this whole awareness and honesty thing for me, that I was like, right, this is my essence, like this is my truth of who I am, these values, and they represent every single thing that I do, and they're woven into the people I like, they're woven into the choices that I make. And I've just done this exercise today in this new course where we've woven values into goal setting, and it's just amazing how powerful your values are. So if you have the book, within the Truthful Tina section, there is a link where you can do your values and you can discover them. And it's the process that I'm sharing in there is a process that I did very, very early on. And I can see that it's a little bit outdated now that I've done the course this week. And actually, just so that you guys know, one of the reasons I'm doing the course is so that I can just have some more tools and techniques to use in my one-on-one coaching with you guys. And I'm learning so much, and I'm really, really excited, because everything that I'm learning is just enhancing every single thing that's in the book. And the sessions are going to be amazing because, we've got the values thing in the book where you can find your values, but then when we work one-on-one, we can go even deeper and we can really dig on those values and bring them into your goal setting and understand what makes you tick, and it'll just really help your change journey a lot more and really solidify that journey for you. So that's where I've been at this week, and it's interesting that it's been Truthful Tina this week because it's probably the perfect time. So for us to have a week off earlier in whenever it was, March, has aligned so that Truthful Tina is this week when I'm really discovering the power of values again, when I found it so empowering beforehand. So just to recap, Truthful Tina is about really being honest with yourself. When you know your truth, you're less likely to be influenced by other people as well. and you are stronger in your character. So it's really understanding who you are, what makes you tick, which is your values, being true to those, being really honest with yourself and moving forward with your change journey. If your change journey affects other people, being really honest with them. And if you're really struggling with honesty, then I suggest that you really start to practice in little scenarios where it doesn't make as much difference, whether people go, oh, seriously, did you just say that? Because it will help you build your confidence so that you can do it again and again in more important situations that might affect your life or definitely your change journey. So thank you for those who are watching live. I hope that was interesting. Hope I didn't speak too fast. I didn't have very many notes prepared, so I'm terribly sorry. I will be more on the ball next week, but I won't have my head as full as all the information that I've received this week. So have a lovely week. Next week, we are going to talk about resilient Ramona. So I don't know if anybody saw, but I did a social media post and I posted a cover of a book called The 14 Bears. And I was just sharing that it's one of my childhood favoritist books of my childhood, and a lot of the names of the 14 bears have come into the characters, and Resilient Ramona is definitely one of those. So it's a bit of an obscure name, but that's where it's come from. So if you have never seen the 14 Bears book, it's the 14 Bears in Summer and Winter, and it's a beautiful children's book, but it's really, really old, so I'm not sure if you can still get copies of it. Anyway, so we'll do Resilient Ramona next week, which is talking about back into your confidence and what happens when things get in the way, and things will get in the way because that's life. But thanks and have a lovely week, and I'll see you soon.